I want to introduce you to somebody who has to have his voice disguised and his face disguised, and after you hear his story, you'll understand why. He was a CIA spy in the Revolutionary Guards of Iran from the early 1980s until the mid-1990s, working in Iran, also in Europe and America. He was able to pass pertinent information as an informant to our intelligence agencies. He knows firsthand about Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the clarets that surround him and prop him up, and the hatred of Israel, the Jews, and America, and how far they're willing to go to destroy all of it. Reza Khalili is here. He is a former CIA agent in the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and author of A Time to Betray. How are you, sir?
Oh, thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to be on your TV today.
Thank you. Let's start with Ahmadinejad. We are sitting here just a couple of blocks away from the United Nations. The president gave a speech today about the Palestinians. Ahmadinejad says Israel is over. This is the beginning of the end of Israel. He's going to destroy Israel. Why should we take this guy seriously?
Well, you see, to understand the enemy, you got to understand their ideology, and then therefore realize the threat. And I think that the U.S. has failed to understand this ideology. And if you look at the past 3 decades, every U.S. administration has tried to negotiate and find somebody on the other side to sit at the table and come to a solution. But guess what? We have failed. And President Obama, when he took office, he approached them with an extended hand. He sent a letter to the Iranian leaders saying that the U.S. doesn't intend to interfere in their internal matters, when in 2009 millions took to the streets. He could have brought change easily, but instead he chose to negotiate. So they will not negotiate simply because they believe that the infidels, which is America, and the Israelis, which they call the Zionist entity, needs to be destroyed. And actually, everything that has happened since then verifies their ideology. Now they believe that U.S. is weakened, its demise is at hand, and Ahmadinejad himself said that Israel is like a cancer cell, that even if one cell is left behind, can contaminate the region. Therefore, it needs to be annihilated.
If you were found out, what would happen to you or your family?
When you
were spying for us, and I'm trying to give an idea of how brutal these people are.
Well, here's what would have happened to me. Had they arrested me, they would have brought my wife and raped her in front of me to bring me pain. They would have brought my son and raped me and tortured me in front of my son. And then they would have done horrific things. I witnessed it firsthand, happen to my friends. I witnessed teenage girls, barely 14 and 15, who were raped the night prior and then executed the next day. I mean, this is a brutal regime. Right now, thousands of Iranians, tens of thousands of Iranians remain in Iranian prisons, being raped, tortured, and executed daily.
So the whole world seems to have gone mad. They don't seem to really take serious the threat. They see they're describing Egypt as it's just an Arab Spring. How much influence does Iran have? Because what everybody tells me, and I think this is bullcrap, is that Iran will just be isolated by the rest of the region. I think there is a caliphate being assembled.
Actually, this is a grave miscalculation by the West. Iran has direct influence in the events in the Middle East. They have had close ties with the Muslim Brotherhood ever since the Iranian Revolution.
Muslim Brotherhood is a fine group of people. It's our government is telling us that the Muslim Brotherhood you can negotiate with, and they used to be hostile, but they're not anymore.
Well, again. Al-Qaeda was born out of Muslim Brotherhood, offshoot Islamic Jihad, al-Zuhairi, started Islamic Jihad, then joined with Osama bin Laden. These people are serious people and determined to destroy the West. You've got to take the threat seriously. Their ideology is that until such time that Islam conquers the world, they will not remain silent.
Tell me about the idea of the 12th Imam.
Well, this is the center of the philosophy of the radicals ruling Iran. And they've said it openly. They've said that in order for the 12th Imam to come back, which will come and kill all the infidels and establish a global Islamic caliphate, in order for that to happen, Israel has to be destroyed. That will trigger the coming. Therefore, all their actions in nuclear enrichment, in ballistic missile delivery, they right now have over 1,000 ballistic missiles in missile silos pointed at Israel and U.S. bases around the region. And they're getting ready for that. Actually, Khamenei, the supreme leader, just said days ago, the current events in the Middle East is a prelude to greater events where Islam will conquer the world.
You have Columbia University inviting Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. First, what is your gut reaction to the West inviting Mahmoud Ahmadinejad? And I had a student from Columbia sitting in my chair here just the other day, and they were sitting here and they said, you know, well, I just want to hear the other side. I mean, how many times do you get a chance to meet with somebody like that?
Well, it's very disheartening. And I got to be honest with you, I'm disgusted at that. This is a thorn in the heart of all the Iranians who are under torture right now, who are being executed daily to bring change in Iran. What other side? I mean, you got to understand that Iran is recognized as a state sponsor of terrorism. Ahmadinejad and the rulers have their hands in the blood of hundreds of thousands of Iranians. But not only that, on a daily basis, they're helping to take down our soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan. And it's been proven beyond any doubt that they have a direct hand in that. So he is a killer, a murderer, a cruel person who has no mercy for even the Iranian citizens, let alone for Americans and the Israelis. And we shouldn't appease these kind of people. We shouldn't give them legitimacy. If you want to bring change, we got to recognize the aspirations of the Iranian people and support them instead.
Okay, so then what does the average American do?
Well, I've been asking for their support. I've been putting out op-ed articles requesting them to understand the threat of the Iranian regime and realize that the threat is not only against Iranians, but the world. Because once they have the nuclear bomb, they will use it. They will destroy Israel and they will attack
the average person will say to you, that's crazy. Nobody wants, because they war game the Cold War. Russia didn't want to annihilate, everyone because they knew we would annihilate back, et cetera, et cetera. That's crazy. Why would someone want to use a nuclear bomb? They would. That's what they'll tell you.
But this is something I teach at the Joint Counterintelligence Training Academy. In order to understand the other side, you got to learn to see the world through their point of view. Of course, it sounds crazy to people in the West. Why would somebody want to kill himself? Well, why did 9/11 happen? Why did the Jordanian doctor who was seen as a hero by the CIA blew himself up, killing the CIA officers in Afghanistan instead of killing Osama bin Laden? These people believe in Quran, and Quran demands jihad on infidels, and martyrdom is the ultimate prize. Therefore, mutually assured destruction will not work.
Do you think does Ahmadinejad really believe in this?
Absolutely.
They will say that. I've had them say it to me over and over again, and a lot of these questions I'm asking, and I think you and I are on the same page on most of this stuff, but I'm asking out of my own frustration because these are the questions that people say to me. Glenn, the cleric, because they just don't think that they don't believe in anything deeply enough to die for it. They'll say the clerics don't mean that. The clerics don't believe in the 12th Imam. They know that's a bunch of hogwash. They don't believe in actually dying for the cause. Otherwise, they would have died for it long ago. They're just sending other people off. They want their own power. They want their own money. Politicians are politicians no matter where you go.
Well, if that was the case, they would have negotiated with the West and guaranteed the rulership for decades to come. Sanctions wouldn't be in place. They wouldn't be under pressure financially, and they would have enjoyed extreme wealth and fame. And Iranian people would have been happy, but they don't do that. Every day they're saying death to America. Every day they're saying they're going to destroy Israel. Why is that? The belief is deep. And they believe actually Khamenei is divine. He's been chosen by Imam Mahdi as his deputy, and that he goes to the heavens once a year and meets with Imam Mahdi and takes directives. One of the directives was not to back down on the nuclear issue with the West and proceed with the nuclear bomb. Now, if you can talk logic with these kind of people, then I say go for it. But it's not going to happen, and that's why the failure of every attempt to negotiate.
Do you think we are naive? Do you think President Obama is naive?
I think he's naive, he's misled, he's confused, he's indecisive, and he doesn't understand what to do. Therefore, all these problems in the Middle East. But let me say this, it is 1930s all over again. The world in fear of war, they allowed World War II to happen, and now in fear of greater wars, they're allowing Iran to get their hands on nuclear bomb. I want to ask this from President Obama's administration. What is our current policy towards Iran's nuclear enrichment program? Sanctions are in place, and they're saying openly that the United Nations sanctions are worthless papers. And they have the ballistic missile to deliver it. And let me tell your audience that one single nuclear detonation over the skies of U.S. will send this country back to 1800th century. Over 2/3 of American population will die after such an EMP attack, just 1 year after such an attack.
Okay, this is America, and most people have not thought of an EMP before. And this is much more frightening than a nuclear bomb. A nuclear bomb, the most surprising thing to most Americans, if a nuclear bomb is detonated, most people survive. You know, something goes off in lower Manhattan, God forbid, most people here in New York survive. An EMP, which I believe North Korea just mastered, can be set off from a nuclear bomb, but detonated high above. I think it takes 3 to knock the United States completely off the grid and into the Stone Age. It fries all computer chips. When you say millions will die, give a little bit of a scenario here on how easy it is. You can launch a nuclear weapon, and before the United States even has any idea, you could launch it off of a boat off the coasts of the United States of America and knock us off the grid and into the Stone Age. Explain a little bit of that.
You're absolutely correct. Actually, I recently revealed that the Revolutionary Guards have now armed their vessels with long-range surface-to-surface ballistic missiles. And let me explain that they did a test off of a ship launching a ballistic missile and exploding it in the sky. The only purpose for that is an EMP attack. And they've announced that they're going to extend their naval operation into the Atlantic Ocean. So here we have a vessel coming up the Atlantic Ocean that could easily launch a rocket. It doesn't need to be sophisticated, though they have sophisticated rockets. One nuclear detonation close to Kansas, actually, will take down the 3 major power grids of U.S. What will happen seconds after? Power will go out throughout the United States. Water will stop running minutes after such attack. Cars, mostly made after 1980s, won't start. Anything with a microchip will fry. Food distribution will stop within few days. Warehouses will have their foods in there rotten because they can't keep it cold anymore after the generators run out of diesel fuel. And so you will see Americans, and a study after study shows, EMP Commission has done this study, shows that just weeks after such an attack, Americans will leave their homes looking for water and food. Over 200 million Americans will die just 1 year after such attack.